Welcome to Stage Door with Michael.
And Divina. I'm Michael.
And I'm Divina, and we're going to be meeting lots of exciting and interesting people from all across the theatrical world.
Yes, of course. Basically, we are just going to stage doors and trying to chat to all of our favourite theatre stars.
And of course, get the gossip on what's happening in their world, how they got there, and everything that we can possibly find out about them. You know, because actually that's what we'd like to be doing.
Exactly. And today we're going international. We are actually going to a stage door in Germany to welcome the wonderful JED HOYLE.
Hooray!
Welcome to Stage Door.
Welcome,
Hello.
Jed. How
Hello.
are you, darling?
I am so good. I'm so excited to be here to chat to you both.
And you're in
So fun.
Germany.
Well, I'm actually even a little bit further afield in Austria. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
We've been
I
live.
know,
that's me.
so-
Facts are wrong already.
No, we're in Vienna for we're here for about 3.5 weeks. And then we go
Vienna.
back over. Yeah, it's lovely. Have either of you been?
I have been to Vienna. I made this
I
weird
haven't.
film a million years ago, and we had one day off, and we got on the bus from Bratislava to Vienna, and we nearly got arrested because we didn't have our passports.
Why is there always a story with you, Divina?
I love it.
I have this ability of making bad choices. I think that's what it is.
It's all for the
All great
plot. It's
ones.
all for the
Yeah,
plot.
exactly.
For the narrative. Yeah.
So, you are currently playing Brad in the Rocky Horror Picture Show on tour in Austria and Germany. Tell us all about that.
So, I'm having the best time. It's so much fun. Obviously, I really didn't know anything about the show going into it, which is crazy, right? Because it's sort of
What?
I'd never watched the film, which is crazy. I'd seen the Glee episode. Anyone that's so my era, I've seen the Glee episode of Rocky Horror, and that's it.
And it was the one time where Sue Sylvester was like, no, you can let them do anything, but you shouldn't be teaching them this stuff.
Exactly.
I love Sue Sylvester.
Um,
That's how Sue
yes.
sees it.
That's how she sees it. So yeah, I knew nothing about it, and I obviously knew how iconic it was and sort of the weight it held, especially in the queer community and everything, and how important it was to people at a time when maybe there wasn't anything else like it. Maybe there definitely wasn't really anything else in the mainstream media quite like it. And I've definitely seen that more here because you see this is the 50th anniversary tour that we're doing now. This specific production has been running for I think 16, 17 years in Germany, going around every 6 months. And I'm just having the best time. The audiences are incredible. They adore the show. Have you seen the show at all?
Oh my God, yes. Yes,
Yeah?
I'm desperate to be in the show, never mind seeing it.
Oh, you'd be perfect. Yeah, you'd be so perfect.
Like, who do I...
Which character?
Who? Which character? Come on. Have you met a more mental case than me? I am perfect for Frank. Get me in Frank.
Yeah,
Do you know a bigger
perfect.
psycho? You don't know a bigger psycho than me.
You'd be amazing.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just having the best time. It's such an iconic role. We've had our director has been so. I was really expecting to go into this, and with it being a sort of long running piece that everyone's familiar with, for it to be XYZ, you know, and actually with a show as batshit as this and as sort of crazy as this, we've been allowed to play and make choices and have fun, and that's actually been something I really didn't expect at all. Like I say, I expected to go in and stand on two, say it like this is like this, then they'll shout this, and da, 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 da. But actually, we've been able to kind of create our own versions of the characters and bring ourselves to those characters. And I think the audiences love that as well, because they want to see the show, but it's nice to see it with fresh energy, new light, different angles, that kind of thing.
100%. I think we've all done those shows. We've all done those shows, though, haven't we? Where people have gone like, oh, you know, we want it to be new and fresh, but stand there and say it like this. And then stand there and do it like this. And you're like, okay. And then you try something new and they're like, yeah, not like that though.
Exactly.
It's not that. Like,
Yeah.
bring your own thing, but it's not that. Then just tell me what to do. I don't really
Yeah.
care. If it needs to be like the factory conveyor belt version, I'm totally fine with that. But that's the joy.
You still get the paycheck,
I mean,
you still get the paycheck.
exactly, and the little credit and all that other stuff. But that's the joy with Rocky Horror, is that every night is going to be different because the audience know the show so well that every night they're shouting out something completely different. There's a different bit, and sometimes it's a bit too much and you want to go, shut up. But it makes it so fresh. And the fact that they're allowing you to do that, it just makes it, it keeps it alive. That's what it is for me about theatre that I love, is that when you allow the performer to bring their own energy and their own ideas to stuff, that's what rejuvenates and re-excites the piece. You know, it keeps it
Absolutely.
rolling.
And our director's always
Definitely.
also been really good at sort of seeing what we're trying to convey and just making it the message convey, which you think that's the director's job, to make what you're trying to do clearer. And I've not really had that experience of many times being like, I think what you're trying to do with that is this, and I think what's going to help you land that better is do it like this, and you're like, oh, this is really collaborative and fun. It's taken me back to being like a kid or at college doing like shows and just playing and making choices with other actors who are also passionate about the piece and really good at their jobs, and that is, when you get a cast like that, it makes it all worth it,
Yeah.
Amazing. And obviously, before Rocky Horror, you were in the Book of Mormon on the West End, which we will come back to later. But how does it compare being on tour to being in one venue the whole time? Have you adapted quite well to that? Because it seems quite crazy, and especially being in a different country as well. You're not just on tour in the UK, they're speaking different languages. How have you dealt with that?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, obviously, when you're doing a show in town, you go to that building every day, and the theatre's exactly the same. And the LX team have done it for years and years. So all the lighting plots are perfect, and everything's, you're not adjusting the sound design to a brand new space. And it's like, everything's just, whereas this is, you're in tech a lot more, you have to adapt a lot more, you're in rehearsals a lot more. Suddenly the tracks on the stage have changed, so now all your depths in all the numbers are different. So then you're traveling on a coach from one place to another. You get to the venue, you've got 2 hours on stage to re-block everything, and then you do your premiere that night. And it keeps it fun and exciting in a way, because you have still that like nervous energy every time, which goes away quite quickly when you're doing a show in the same place. You have to find your own ways of doing that. And also the audience response in London is quite, expected. It's culturally, you get very similar responses, whereas here you're going country to country, place to place. Berlin, where we just were, very different place to Vienna in many senses. The people that live there, the people that go. Berlin was wild. It's so much fun. As you say, the audience are like the fifth character in Rocky Horror. The next character, sorry, there's too many characters, I can't think. But they have the extra character, they add such another dimension to the whole show. There's bits in rehearsals I was watching, I was like, this feels a bit awkward, it's very quiet. But then as soon as you have an audience, they're just like shouting out lines and laughing and, interacting with the people on stage. So yeah, it's just been an eye-opening experience to be, adapting constantly, but fun. That's why we do it.
Good.
I just want to pick up on what you'd said, like you're getting on a coach and then they're taking you somewhere. That has never been my experience of touring, but this is how it works on the continent, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely. We get hotels. It's all sorted. Yeah, on the continent, fabulous. Not sort your own trains, not sort your own digs, all covered because it's international.
It just feels a bit like we've been failed a little bit in this country, because that's what happens whether you're a national or not in that country. You just get taken to and put up, and all the logistics are sorted for you.
It's almost like we should kind of expect it a little bit. It takes a lot of the stress away of you being like having to find digs and no, we're all in one place. We all know where the theatre is. When we're done, pack your bags, put it on the coach, sit there. We're driving you to the next venue. new hotel, all sorted for you. It is quite
Wow.
fabulous.
It sounds heavenly. I can't wait for
Well,
the UK to catch up.
right, we need to get equity on it. I think that's the thing. Although I will say, quite quickly getting sick of hotel breakfast, and that is so.
Really?
But you know, it's same every day and not great.
Yeah.
But I sound so ungrateful. But you know,
Well,
it's like when you have something every day, it's like
100%.
and not cooking. That's another thing. You know,
There are always
things.
ups and downsides for
Of course,
everything.
of course.
But I feel like, just as somebody who is, I am not good at logistics, I am not good at organising. Give me a script, I will learn it. Tell me where to stand on the stage, I can do that. Tell me to get to Norwich, and I have no idea. I am completely lost. Why
That was
are
one of
we
the
doing
biggest
this?
pulls for me of this tour was I don't have to deal with any of that. So it's like, yes, I'm away from home, but I don't have any stress of that. And I'm the same as you. It would be a minefield. I'd be like, I need a friend. I need someone who's on the tour to sort it. Tell me where we're going, and I'll just give you half the money. You know,
The
like,
amount of times I've bought a train ticket to Plymouth and I'm supposed to be going to Portsmouth, I cannot tell you how many times.
That's a long journey to Plymouth.
It is a completely different place in completely different part of the country, and and the amount of times I've got on the train and then I've looked at where I'm supposed to be and gone, oh no, I'm already an hour into this journey.
And I can't imagine if this wasn't the case. Yeah, I can't imagine if this wasn't the case in this, you know, international touring, because it'd be even harder to do that in foreign language, foreign places. With, you know, it takes away a lot of the stress, luckily. So we can just enjoy doing the job.
So what's been your favourite story so far on the tour? I can't tell you any of mine because they're not PG.
My favourite story so far on the tour? I don't know. We're quite new into it, so we've got a long way to go. We've been doing it for...
Have you got... There's always this one girl in a cast, right? There's always this one girl in a cast.
What are you going to say?
She always has a really severe fringe and a bob, and she is the drama in every cast. She's got black hair. Her hair is black. She has like an edgy fringe and a bob. Have you got that girl? Yeah, nodding away.
She's not the drama. She's not the drama. Listen. She's not the drama. She's actually one of the favourite people I've met on the job. My gorgeous friend Liv, who I've met here. But we're besties, you know.
She might come into the drama. Like, we don't know.
Still time.
She's not. She's fabulous. She's fabulous. She's such hardworking. She knows all her things, but also she's the fun. Yeah. You know.
Well, sometimes they're like,
she's the yes and.
Okay, gorgeous. Sometimes they're like the fun drama, but sometimes they're just like the drama, and you're like, please get a different haircut. Maybe that'll save us all. Just change your hair.
Touchwood, we've had no drama so far, but like I say, it's 2 months. We're not even 2 months in. When did we start? End of October, maybe? Yeah, end of October we started, so we're not, we're not long into it.
Fresh.
Well, speaking of bringing the fun, we've got a little game for you.
Great.
So we're going to give you 30 seconds to name as many musical theatre shows as you can.
Oh my gosh.
Right, over to you, Divina.
Okay. We're going to count you in.
I'll count.
And then I'm going to start the stopwatch. And you've got 30 seconds. Are you ready? And we'll try and count. Michael keeps telling me that I can't count, but actually, every time I've gone back and done it, I've been right.
Is this a competition with everyone who's been on the podcast?
Yeah.
So I need to get as many as I can.
As many as you can. Okay, here we go. The clock starts now.
Rocky Horror Show, Book of Mormon, 42nd Street. Everybody's talking about Jamie. Frozen, Aladdin, Mean Girls, A Chorus Line, Maiden Dagenham, Zorro Zorba. Pajama Game. What else have I said? So many. Shrek. I can't think of a single musical. Grease. West Side Story. Chicago.
Stop!
The Cher Show.
Stop! 15. 15. You got 15.
15.
Very good.
That's not the best, but it's not the
best,
worst.
not the
Well
worst,
done.
but very good.
That made me
very
panic.
Good. And you
And scream. I felt like I was doing a Bush Tucker trial.
I love that you just did all of the PPA shows that you were in.
I did
all of the shows you did while training.
I was like, bang, 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 that's 5, you know? Zorro and Zorba.
Well done.
Like, seriously? I bet no one said Zorba.
No. What is Zorba?
No.
I don't know what Zorba is.
So you know, like Zorba the Greek? It's like a Greek show. It's like, you know the song? Gets faster. I think that's the song, Zorba the Greek.
Oh,
the musical is...
so it's just 3 hours of that song?
No, written by Kanda and Ebb. It's a Greek novel, I think, and it's about 2 sort of friends.
Great.
So Zorro and Zorba are 2 different shows. You said Zorro Zorba, so we actually need to add another one, I think.
No, it was. I counted both.
Okay.
She's there.
I can't.
She's there.
Got it.
So we got Book of Mormon in your little chat. So I want to know what your favourite and least favourite things were about the show, because you were there for quite a while, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there for quite a while. So I was very lucky in that I graduated in 2019, and I booked the show in probably around October, November time that year, and then started in January 2020, which was great fun, because we all know what happened around then. But I was there till literally this year, so just under 5 years, kind of across with COVID taken out.
Wow.
So it was a long time. I was very lucky in that I got to cover 3 amazing roles in the show, and kind of got one every year. So it added an extra thing every time I kind of renewed a contract. I was then able to learn something new and sort of sink my teeth into a new part and that kind of thing, which kept it fresh in my head. But it was a real learning lesson on how to the stamina of 8 shows a week for a long time. And something I really didn't expect actually was when I finished the show. Obviously I was emotional because it's such a huge part of my life, so many incredible friends and people that I've met, and the routine of it's just a big change. So it's really emotional to say goodbye. It was the right thing to do, but one thing it felt like, you know, when you have one of those Sundays and you've got a big job list and you do to-do lists and you're like, do this, and then you sit down at the end of the day and you go, oh, I did all my jobs and I just feel amazing. It was like I'd held space for the Book of Mormon.
We can't.
I've really been holding space for the Book of Mormon. We can't.
Jed, you're our first guest to say that. And now it'll be everyone.
Michael, just hold my finger, will you? Because that's exactly what I wanted you to do. That's exactly what I wanted the audience to do with Book of Mormon. I just wanted them to... Wow.
I'd really been holding space for it. And when the curtain came down at that last show, I was in floods of tears, and I got in the shower after the show, and we went for a couple of drinks, and I just honestly felt like the job is done. Yeah. I've done my job. And it was such an amazing feeling of relief in a healthy way. You know, like I didn't feel... What's the word? I didn't feel like it was a burden at all. It was just that feeling of I've given such a big part of myself to committing to this for such a long time and I felt kind of proud of myself, and I was like, oh, it's done. Like, that's a chapter closed, but I felt really good about it, you know? And that was, I didn't expect to feel that at all. I didn't even, acknowledge that would be an emotion as part of coming to the end of a contract, really. But what was the original question? I've gone off on such a tangent. Favorite
highlights?
Yeah, what were the highlights of the show for you?
One of my big highlights would have been the first time I went on for Elder Cunningham. It was a principal role in the West End, and it was one of those pinch me moments where I was like, oh my God. I mean, I've never felt fight or flight like it. Never. But when that show started, I got the call and I was like, okay, it's happening. I'm like, we're ready. I've done all the work. I just trust myself. Got into the wing at the top of the show, had the little glasses on, had my little shirt and tie on, and the overture starts, and the show's like, I was like, and I felt that I was just, my physical reaction was to just run out of the door. I've never felt anything like it. But got through it, did it all. and bowing at the end of that show, I felt really proud of myself. It was a real bucket list, big tick moment for me. Massive highlight. Very lucky.
Amazing. And when you're performing, do you have like backstage rituals that you do? So before you go on stage, do you have anything that you, we've been talking about Jakeman sweets, or whether you have a honey and lemon, or is there anything that you do physicality wise? And has that changed from Mormon to Rocky Horror, or do you still do the same things?
The only thing I do every show, without a doubt, before every show, I will always, and this is a ritual, it's just something I do, I'll always brush my teeth and always take a big smin just down, because we're working closely. We want to be taking care of ourselves, and no one wants to be that person. So I'll always just make sure, but that is probably my only ritual. My other ritual is to not think about the show. And I always think, if I start to think about the lyrics, or if I start to allow myself to be in my head about any of those things, especially when you're doing cover stuff, or if you're doing something you've not done before, making a debut, that kind of thing, I just think, don't think, you've done the work, trust yourself, be in the show, be present in the moment, and you know the show well enough to do it, So that's my other thing. I try to not think through the plot too much.
I think I'm totally different.
But isn't that interesting how our brains work? Because if I get in there, this is all going to go wrong, and this is all going to go wrong.
I thought you meant you didn't brush your teeth.
I don't do that either, ever. Just a bit of bread in the morning. There, it's ready. Lovely. And I'm because you've said that, and I'm thinking about the last moment of going on stage doing when I was doing SpongeBob, and if I did not run that, the rest of the show was fine, but if I didn't run that line about, quick, everybody, those fools have perished in the volcano, we need to get aboard the ship. If I didn't run that before, I would say anything. I would go, quick, and one day, and then I would say like the spaceship, or I would say the ambulance, or like and one day Hannah was telling me a story, like her grandma wasn't very well, and just before we went on, and so my brain was like, oh no, your often, unless I like really lock that in before I would go on stage, I just have no idea. I'd have no idea what was going on.
I did it the other day because we sort of had from Berlin, between Berlin and Vienna, we had a break for 10 days. We'd only done the show for 2 weeks in Berlin, so it wasn't in our bodies yet. And I got to the top of the show and I thought, the whole day I was like, Jed, don't think, because you won't. If you think about it, you'll get it wrong, you'll get it wrong. And I got to, and I let my head beat me, and I got to the top of the show, and I was about to make my first entrance, which is just before the song Damn It, Janet. And the lyrics are a little bit similar in the first two verses. And I stood in the wing and I was going through the lyrics whilst, Melissa, the gorgeous girl who plays Magenta, was singing science fiction. I was like, I don't know the words. I was like, the river was deep, but I swam it. And I couldn't think of any of the lyrics. And then I hear, bum, 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 which is that entrance music. I was walking back on the stage like, I don't know the words to the song, because I thought, and I just said, don't think, do. And it was fine, but I have also thought, and it's not been fine before. So, as you said, those tricky lines where you're doing similar words, but in a weird order, and you're like, in Mormon, we had this, Elder Cunningham obviously is making up lies all the time. So it's Jesus and Moroni and the Star Wars references and all these things that are much, and there's so many. The Lord said, lo, unto the Nephites. There were so many lines that were very similar but different. And I got on one time, I walked on stage, and it was the one scene, much like that line you were just talking about, that I just thought, I used to run it. And I got on and I can't remember what happened. The Lord! And they all looked at me, I was kind of preaching to them all, I was just looking at them like this. And you know that feeling when you don't know the line, your heart sinks. And I just looked at them like, I've got nothing. And it was like, green. I knew the cue line was green. So I just had to get that word out. I just, green. You can't get away with that in Rocky Horror, because unfortunately, the audience know the script better than you do. Yeah.
So was Was it always a thing for you growing up that you wanted to do theatre? Was that always the goal? And what advice would you give to somebody who wants to go into theatre? Because this is massive. Like, you know, you've stepped straight from Book of Mormon into a lead role, touring internationally. Like, that's massive. Like, that is
Yeah.
absolutely huge. So what, give us the inside scoop. How do we
Thank
make
you.
this happen? Oh.
Um, that's very sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I do feel very lucky, and I don't know. I've always, for me, there's no one in my, I mean, my family are artistic, but not in a musical theatre sense at all. So I kind of found musical theatre myself, I suppose, through school. I think when I was year three, I played Joseph, and that was my first introduction to theatre, right? And I mean, I hold such a special place for that show because it is, for me, my like first
In
introduction.
year
Um,
three. In year
yeah, well, wait,
three.
let me spill the inside scoop on that because actually it was the year four production, but no one in year four, so I had to step up. The year threes were the choir, and the year four were doing the production, but she booked the job. Sorry. So yeah, that's the tea on that. So stepped up, played the role, and then yeah, found my love for fun. Went to stage school, but like I say, no one in my immediate surroundings was into theatre, so it's very much something that I just had this passion for. And I think you either do or you don't you? With theatre, it's as a young gay boy as well. Like it's easy to align with so many characters and storylines in theatre because we're telling those kind of stories, and also women belting is a gay awakening for anyone, I think, so um so yeah.
Once you've heard Linda Eder singing Man of La Mancha, you can never go back. You can never go
Right,
back.
right. um so yeah, that's um all those things, and then I went to local stage school where I would that was kind of where I learned more about other shows that I'd never heard of because no one was telling me. And then you sit at home and watch Tony Award performances in your bedroom at 13 years old because that's all you just love it, And I think that is my advice to anyone that would want to do this is you need to love it because it's hard
Yes.
and that's why, but it's tough and knockbacks, and people are going to tell you you're not good enough. And if you don't have a passion for it and the people in the world, the more like you be a geek, and learn about it, and don't be ashamed to be a geek about it because it's what you love. And if you love something, then you should be able to be passionate about it, and the people around you should love you for that, and not make fun of you for that. Which is hard when you're in West Yorkshire in a regular high school that is surrounded by people who don't know,
Hold
anything
on a
about it.
minute.
But
Where in West Yorkshire are you from?
I'm from Elland,
Yeah!
Halifax,
Come
West Yorkshire.
on,
Yeah,
Ellen!
literally up the road from Brighouse, down the
Me and my best friend used to go to
Best
Elland all the time. We used to go to Elland Library and we used to go to the Ritz, to the Rex. We used to go to the Rex Cinema. The Rex Cinema. If you've never been to the Rex Cinema in Elland, you have to go.
It's historic.
They've got an organ on a Saturday. There's a break in between the film, and they do tea.
They bring ice creams
tea,
out.
ice creams, like biscuits, all that stuff, and then they also they have these like weird paper chandeliers at the top, don't they? And as the
Yeah.
cinema warms up, they start to spin. So the chandeliers
They
sort of
do.
start to
Yeah, they
spin
do.
round. Isn't that hilarious?
I forgot about that. And in the back rows of the cinema, obviously it's such a old cinema. The back two rows, we used to call them as kids, we used to call them the snogging seats because they're like double joint seats. They're so old. It's like I don't know when it, but it's still running now, and I love that. It's this little local cinema, and they still do the organ shows. They still have the interval in the middle of the film. It's really traditional. Like if you're into film and movies, it's actually a really cool experience because I think they still have a film projector even. They might not now, but they definitely did when I was a kid.
Now I'm like, okay, where else do we know that it's the same as each other? So what was the local theatre school that you were going to?
So the theatre school that I was going to was I went to two. I went for a year at one in Bradford called Stage 84.
Stage 84.
And then I went...
Stage 84.
And then...
That was where all the really best kids went. All the best kids who really could do it. I never went to Stage 84, obviously. But all the kids who were really good all went to Stage 84.
But then I left there, so I was there for a year, but it was in Bradford,
Yes.
so it was quite a drive away, and so I went to more of a local stage school. It's called Whiteley's Academy of Performing Arts in Halifax.
Right.
It was a family-run sort of local school, and I absolutely adored it. I met some of my best friends for life there, and met my closest people growing up there. Really passionate teachers that taught me everything, and also I loved it. So yeah.
Gosh.
Where did you go?
Well,
Did you go to
I did loads of kind of different places. So I'd done like Halifax Light Opera. I'd done I'd also done some stuff with Actors Workshop with Mike Ward, who the Actors Workshop, it used to be up the kind of back end of Halifax, and now there was a fire and they've moved around to the sort of past the Acapulco, over where Netto's used
Acapulco.
to be.
Where Netto's used to be.
Netto's used to be. They're over that side of town now. But
Right,
Mike
got you.
Wood, and he's been running, classes and stuff like that forever and ever and ever. And then I just done loads of music stuff around Halifax as well, and auditioned for the Victoria Panto, all of that
Of
stuff.
course.
And when we auditioned, I was like 12, and the woman who was auditioning us for dancers gave us the track that she gave us as a 12-year-old. This is kind of 12 to 16-year-olds. I'm horny, 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 horny. So hot. I'm 12. I should not be dancing to this.
In a panto.
And the die was cast.
Amazing.
That's what I thought.
That's what I thought. Sorry, Michael. We're talking such localities now. These are such niche
I love
references.
Everyone's from the north knows everyone else from the north. This is great.
We had this the other day. We were chatting about all sorts, because there's a lot of people in the show someone's from Harrogate, and then people from Hull. So there's a lot of northern talent in the show, because there's a lot of northern talent, period. And we were talking about all the places that, do you know The Escape in Castleford? Do you know Flamingo Land? Do you know, we were talking about all these places, Scarborough, it's like really northern references and we were like, Eureka in Halifax, like so many places. Look at Michael's face.
No.
I'm just like, I want to take it all in. I need to know all these places. I want to know what Flamingo Land is. That sounds fun.
It's a theme park and a zoo. It's actually not.
Okay.
It's like a theme park zoo hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay. We really appreciate your time today, Jed. Thank you so much for dialing in and joining us at the stage door. Just before you go, I'm going to put you to the test. This is actually a bit simple, but if you're listening along at home, you can play this as well. I just need you to finish this line for me, okay, from a musical. You might recognize the musical.
Oh my God.
So if I said to you, someone took a luggage away.
Hasadiga Ibawaya.
Yay!
The crane was crowded and the bus was late.
Hasadiga Ibawaya. Yay! So what does Hasadiga Ibawaya mean? It's like Hakuna Matata, right?
It's just like that. Yeah. It's just like that, yeah. So in the same realm.
Same thing.
No worries.
Yeah. It's crazy when you're singing it 8 times a week, you get quite numb to what you're saying, and if you listen to the song, you realise we're having these conversations about what we're going to have for dinner, whilst we're then interjected with "got in the the lyrics to the song, which are quite so casually.
I love it. Actually, I just want to know before you go, what's like the next role for you, dream wise? Like, what do you want to be? Where can we see you? Like, what do you want to be doing?
What do I want to do? Such a hard one, because if you'd have asked me for a moment, I would have not said this is one of my dream roles, but this is such an amazing role. There's so many things I don't know about. Something I'd love to do in my career, not necessarily next, because I don't think I'm old enough. I would love to be Trunchbull in Matilda. I think that'd be so much fun.
I'll fight you for it.
Yeah, well, I knew I was going to say you would love to do it, and you'd be fabulous.
And on that note, we've all got to go. So.
I'll meet you outside the Rex, Divina. That's right. Outside the Rex in Ellis.
I'll pay your entrance. It's like £4 still. Marvellous.
Three or
exactly,
£4,
£3, £4. So barking the Rex is great. We'll all love it. Right,
Thank you
darling.
so much, Jen.
Mwah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Have the
It's
best time
it's
on
been
the
great.
rest of your tour. And
I'm coming to see you in March.
Yes, Nicole said, yeah, I can't wait. So we'll have fun. I hope you enjoy the show.
and we'll
Learn all your shout outs. You have to shout out asshole at me. Sorry. Bleep.
see you
Love
soon,
it.
darling.
Bye.
See
Thank
ya.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye.